Is Yo, it is yours. Oh, look at that.
Yo, that was your host, Lamoy, okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
With the blackout.
It is your truly Lamoy, aka Mr. Cool Spot. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. We have a very, very special event today that I'm super excited about. Before we go in, Free, how you doing? My lovely co-host. How you doing today, sis?
I'm, I'm doing well. We are blessed, highly favored, all that good stuff. So
Yeah,
it is a great day. I think
nice.
technical issues are always a good
It
start. That
is,
we
right?
in the right spot when we got a little technical stuff coming on. It's like, hey, it's a little adversity, but you know, it's a great day, and we have um Mr. Mitchell here today, and so I'm super excited to just get these amazing jewels, these nuggets that we're gonna get today. Um,
Hey,
so what I'll go ahead and do, let me go ahead and let y'all know about Mr. S. Bernard Mitchell.
There we
So
go.
he's also known as Mr. BU. He's an entrepreneur, a multi award winning recording artist, songwriter, music producer, and engineer who has helped shape the careers and businesses of many around the world in various industries. Bernard is also a motivational teacher who is the visionary behind BU Life Academy, which provides individuals with practical application, teaching, and life skills training in self discovery and financial literacy. Sounds like I need to sign up. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to talk about this
all right,
after the podcast.
We going
Okay.
all right.
in.
Um, so he can be located on multiple platforms, and we'll make sure we put that information at the bottom of the screen. So you'll see that scrolling shortly. And so I just wanted to give y'all the bio while Lamoy was, getting started
Working
and
out.
getting in the groove of stuff, while we working out that stuff.
We
So
got it.
again, we welcome you, Mr. Bernard, to none other than the cool spot. So we want to have an amazing build today. So I'll let Lamoy kind of jump back in and take the reins, and let's get started.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, thank everybody for tuning into the Cool Spot. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Again, it's always something. We went through everything. We were just fine. You know how that goes, but it's all good. It's always all good. But Bernard Mitchell, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, great to be
Yeah.
here on the cool spot. I've been hearing about the cool spot.
Yeah.
I feel like I've arrived.
Nah, well,
I've made
we
it
growing.
to the cool
we growing. But I wanted to give this sub introduction, the second introduction, I should say, because I've known you for a while, bro, and what I've always loved about you is consistency. How you've always worked the plan until you've seen it all the like play all the way out to the end, right? So I've learned a lot when it comes to business from you and how everything has like transpired from like 2010, I believe is when we met, but the 2009 maybe.
It was like 2009, 2008, sometime around
Yeah,
there.
2008, 2009. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a good while. But ever
Yeah.
since then, I've adopted you as a mentor. You've seen me through my best of times, and you've seen me through my worst of times. And you've always had the inspirational words to keep me going. We've worked together. We work side by side. I've supported, you supported. Like, I mean, we family, you know? And I'm super excited today because like when we talk between me and you on the phone, we talk and we have great builds. So it's only right that maybe we could just share a little bit with the world, and just kind of have this dialogue and let's talk entrepreneurship, because I'm still learning. I'm still growing in my own process, but to have you here on the show today, it's letting me know I'm on a good path. You know what I'm saying? And again, Sharita Freeman, thank you once again, like always, for always holding it down here at the Cool Spot. I was actually absent the last show for the Spotlight, but she held it down. She carried the show and she repped well. You know what I mean? So thank you again, Sharita Freeman.
You're welcome.
But no, man, let's talk about entrepreneurship. But before we do that, let's give a little bit of background about who you are, man. Share with the world who you are and some background, brother.
Basically, everything she read. No, I'm just messing. But
Yeah,
what I,
Everything she said.
yeah,
yeah,
what she
everything.
said.
But I've always been an entrepreneur. Been like that since I was a kid. That entrepreneur spirit. Even through the ups and downs. In my adult life, I became more involved in regards to entrepreneurship and music. So especially, it really hit hard in the music industry. I did most of my grooming and development through the music industry. Was able to establish a pretty good career. Wouldn't say not the superstar status, but however, I was able to get to a point where I was pleased in my career and able to do the transition. And hopefully we get to talk about that, because some people, they give up on what they like to do as a vocation. You don't retire, you reposition yourself. So I repositioned myself from being an active role as an artist to a stakeholder who owns something. So go from, you know what I'm saying? So in that regard, that's when I really began to really groom. I also have background in fire and life safety. I have a company that is it's BU Energy and Mining Solutions that I just started, which deals with mineral mining and also renewable energy. So because this is the wave of the future, it's renewable everywhere. We're going green. So it's good to get into that industry now that it's still on the come up. We're talking about I think a $3 trillion industry at this point, with about 800 million on the books to be gotten, to out there to get in regards to worldwide. You know what I'm saying? So being able to really get into that industry and being able to establish myself in that entrepreneurship. Yes, I do consulting. I consult in multiple, as far as business consulting, personal consulting, and in regards to the industry, the music industry within itself, and built a rapport in that regard to as a business person, and being able to do that with a certain level of business expertise, connecting myself with people of like minds who want to be professionals. You have those who do business, and you have those who do business. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's real tough.
So you want to deal with those who are really doing business, and those who have reputable, as far as they're reputable in regards to who they are in their industry and their connections as far as references. So that's a bit short.
No, that's good. That was good. And we'll definitely touch base on the transition process too, because, I myself started as an artist, but now I'm doing many other things outside of the artistry. So we will talk about that, man. But let's talk just some foundation first, man. Let's give some basics, man. Like, why is entrepreneurship important? What would your thoughts be about that?
It's because it goes like this here. What is it? God bless the child that has his own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For many people, they're not able to maximize, and I say that be the ultimate you, which is what I push. They're not really able to maximize who they are in regards to a lot of their workplace.
Yeah.
And for many years, you have people who are making, but they reach that ceiling, and they of course the family may grow, or the family may have but being able to be an expert, you showing yourself to be an expert in what you do, especially for those who've been on a job 10 plus years, been putting the hours and stuff. Anyone that's been on that job consistently 10 years more, or put in 10,000 hours of reading and hands-on work, you are considered an expert, but you're not being paid expert dollars. These are for those who are in a trade, so to speak, or in an industry. You don't realize that you're making someone else's money off of you being an expert.
Right.
And even for those who don't have that trade, but they have that ability to be able to sell, that ability, they have that, as you say, what church people say, the gift of administration, the ability to run an office.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are some people that know how to run the office, know how to do the logistics of business, but may not have the skill set. You can still be an entrepreneur in that regard. So what's important about it is being able to have that business. For one, being able to pass it on to your legacy, to build family wealth, which is very important. One thing that as we as African Americans, we need to a lot of us, I'm not saying everybody, but many of us need to improve on that. That's an area of improvement of establishing family wealth. And when someone passes me, leaving more behind than just tears and sorrow. You know what I'm saying? But you're leaving behind an inheritance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a good father, an inheritance behind. Not sorrow and how we gonna bury them and what we gonna do and can we do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? For every situation, I'm not knocking it. But what I'm saying is, you prepare, you stay ready, so you have to get ready.
Get ready. Come on.
Entrepreneurship that allows you to be able to, if you're successful, and when you become that success, you establish that point. You know, we're not trying to be, you're not trying to take away from anyone else, but what you're trying to do is establish your own.
Right.
Because there's room enough here. If we understand as Black people, we have much of the purchasing power anyway. That because we're heavily marketed to through hip hop and everything, you can just see it just in any type of advertising. You see hip hop is all in it. So the importance about it is to be able to establish that generational wealth that you can pass on, and also be able to free yourself to be able to do the things you can with your family.
Right.
I mean, when you're your own boss and you've established that foundation and you've established that your business has been established, that gives you some freedom to be able to focus on what's really important, which is family.
That's good. That's good. And speaking of family, just to piggyback off of that, like, you know, I wasn't left an inheritance, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like I got to find it in myself to kind of find my own path to build that up for my legacy, you know? So like, even like right now with the equipment, all the equipment and stuff that I have, like, you know, I have 3 kids. So I have a dope camera. It cuts off every 30 minutes on me while I'm doing lives. I hate it, but it works. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the thing is, I've been working with my daughter with the camera. So she just had her very first photo shoot. That was a paid engagement or a paid job for her like a few days ago. And I helped her with the editing and all of that stuff with the pictures. But like, she's into that now because it's like, we're not exposed to certain things that keeps us at a place where we can constantly grow and progress in learning more so we could obtain more. I feel like in the Black community, like I had an issue. I had my nephew here and, you know, we kind of had our run-ins and different things or whatever, but I feel like what separates a child from the adult and why children look at adults as a problem or pests is the lack of consistency. Right. So like, as we get older, we learn how consistency plays a big part in one's identity. So if we're taught consistency from a youth, then growing up as an adult, then it's like, yo, this isn't a problem. I can set the goal, run through it, and complete the objective. You know what I mean? But if we're not taught that growing up, I feel like the biggest separation between the youth and the adults is the level of consistency. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, right? So, but no, man, like even my son right now, I bought a inkjet printer so he can do like shirts and book bags and put logos and different designs on that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm finding my way now at 36 years old to build a legacy up for my for my generation to come after me. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Free, you want to add to that? Free, you good?
I think that I think that's phenomenal right there. Like I know me and Lamoy have these conversations about how to better our children, right? My dad gave me a ton of knowledge and I wish that I would have like sat down a little bit more and paid him more attention before he left or before he departed, you know. And you know, my parents have always given me the ability to have the knowledge, but I never really applied it. So like, as we've been going through quarantine and like my daughter is super busy and she calls Uncle Lamoy Uncle Magic. And so we were just like, okay, like one day we started making Black Lives Matter beads. Right. And it was just like, when I explained to her what was going on, she was like, well, when you go to a protest, I want to give you something to give out and give away. And it was like, oh, wow. Like I thought that was pretty profound. And then from there, it came to the point I took her to one protest, and then she had a conversation with a poet, and she was just like, if this is my business, he was like, give me a price. She
Right.
sold a bracelet before she ever made it for him. And then
Right.
since then she has a business. And
Right.
you know,
Oh,
it was beautiful. It blossomed. Lamoy's working on her logo. I mean, she literally sold to a bracelets to a black owned bakery shop yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've tried to get to the point where I'm instilling in her now at 7 years old, you can do what you want to do. Like,
Absolutely.
don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Your business
right.
name is not specific. It's
Yeah.
called Maz Dreams and things. So that you, as you grow and you like different stuff, grow your business. It doesn't
Right.
have to, say what you're doing in the title, so that as you grow up, it's growing with you and you're progressing. And so I've been trying, because I don't think I ever knew what entrepreneurship really was. Like, my dad was a
Mhm.
pastor. He was always busy. So we were always at church. He also had a full-time job. So I learned a lot about doing different things, but not necessarily this is a name, this is what you do. Even
Right.
down to when I started working with Lamoy, he was just like, okay, Rita, you have a lot of talents. And I'm like, yeah. Give me the stuff in the background. Let me do this. Let me do that. And so it wasn't until he was just like, you're like a consultant. And I was
Yeah.
like, now I can run with it because I know what it's called.
Right.
And so I started
Right.
looking it up like, well, how can I, make myself more knowledgeable in this area? Because this
Hmm.
is something I've been doing numerous years for different people. And I'm just like, well, I started doing it with work and it kind of progressed. So I
Yeah.
definitely think that sometimes in the community we get stuck because we don't know what something is called. We
Mm.
feel like, well, I don't have a degree in it, they're not
Right.
going to believe me, or feel like my voice is valuable. And so we let those fears scare us,
Yeah.
because a lot of times we don't have someone close to us where we've seen them make it with
Yeah.
that dream. We call those people dreamers, and we tend to distance ourselves or not feed into them. And
Right.
like, I know, and me and Lemoy talked, we had people before in both of our lives that were kind of like, hey, you're at this point of being a dreamer, but
Hmm.
not taking that what I do as a dream or a hobby, that is my future. Like, I'm
Right.
feeding into my future, and people not always seeing that, and then kind of place you in a box of, oh, okay, well, they're just doing this because it
Yeah.
keeps them busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
That's true.
I will say this here, where you're talking in regards to the dreamers. See,
Hmm.
dreamers are important. Many things that you see around here come from dreamers.
Hmm.
These are the ones that they, if you were to say it biblically, it'd be thy will be done, thy kingdom come on earth as is in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
It happens through the visions, the dreams. You see what I'm saying? As you see them. See, many people take that as just something that it refers to just religion, but when you really understand it, that you take that out of the box and you see how to apply it in everyday life, even in business, your
Hmm.
vocation. A lot of people are stuck in the clouds.
Yeah.
Their business is stuck in the clouds, so to speak, but they never bring it to earth. They
Yeah.
never put it on paper, write the vision, make it plain, share it with those who connect, and run off with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Good.
there's many things that we've been told or been shared that has kept many people afraid from even being an entrepreneur. I know you said there's a question later, but I'm gonna say it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the thing: anybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Anybody can start a business, but you get even if you can't, you can have the people in place to run the business.
Right.
You may not be able to operate the business, but you can be the one to start the business.
Hmm.
See, the idea is, and what we see other people do, what other people do is this here. They won't have a degree.
Hmm.
They won't have a vocation, but they will start the business, hire people smarter than them,
Right.
which you're supposed to do. And these are the ones that take your business elsewhere. Just look at any business, look at any structure, and look at the people who are in place. You have the visionary, the one who's over the entire business, and you have they're trying to find all these intellectuals. There's the board of smart people that are smarter than the person who started the business. And here's the key: do what you do best, delegate the rest. Don't try to have your hands in everything. You see what I'm saying? Do what you do best and delegate the rest. If the best part of you is you have a gift of gab, you can sell. Okay. Right. But you are horrible at scheduling. You're horrible at doing meetings. You don't know. You can't do finance. You can't keep the books to save your life.
Right.
You do best in your skill set, which is the sales, going to get the sales, hire someone to do, even if you have to 1099 and out. These are still your people, these are still your staff. Right. Do what you do best and delegate the rest. And that's the part that keeps you from being a micromanager. You know what I'm saying? Because micromanaging kills entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? It kills the business right there, because you're so heavy on what this person doing, what that person doing, what that person, and you're so heavily driven to see what everybody's doing. No one feels free enough to be themselves. They can't do what they do best. Why? Because they're stuck on them. You know what I'm saying? And in our culture, we tend to want to protect it. You see that little meme that shows money is going like this here? That's how we are with our business. Like, it's my baby and I got to protect it, and I can't make sure that nobody does something wrong. No. If you don't trust your people will not be able to help you take that vision or that business and grow further. But this is just the basic business 101. Just understanding that part. Y'all can't grow as a team until you build, you know what I'm saying, trust the team that you're building together. You know what I'm saying? And they in turn trust you to trust them to do what's best in regards to the vision, the plan, and the big picture.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. That's good
all
stuff.
Of them. I got it.
You got all you wrote all
I feel
that
like
down?
I'm updating every 2 minutes. Like,
Yeah. And again, like when I say like this is how our conversation goes every time we talk, man. We talk business, we talk about delegating, we talk about contracts, and again, like the cool spot has only been up and running for like what 4, maybe going on 5 months now, and again, like it's growing so fast because we're learning how to like forecast, right, and find our niche and what's missing so we can fill in those gaps. You know what I'm saying? And like that's why I love it so much, man. Like outside of work, my full-time job really keeps me busy and takes majority of my day away. And I'm working between 12 to up to maybe 16 hours a day some days. But between that, it's like it's home, work, and the cool spot. You know what I mean? But because it's still in its infancy stages, there's a whole lot of work in the planning and everything. And it's like, now I'm getting to the point where I'm beginning to get exhausted. And me and Free had a conversation today, like, yo, who could we call to get this done? Who could we call to get that done? Let's reach out to some people now, because I'm getting stretched. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool because again, I'm learning. And one thing that Bernard had taught me a long time ago is, let's say you had a corporation or a business, small business, and somebody called out, you got 10 employees and somebody called out. Do you have enough information to fill in those slots if the person calls out, even as the owner, you know? So my ideology has been learn the business from top to bottom, from the inside and out, you know, because once the people come in, like the brand represents something. And you know, I believe in giving freedom, but there's also a certain feel and a certain style of the brand that has to be just right. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's why like me learning everything as I'm going is important to me, because now I'm not afraid to delegate as long as that person's willing to learn, to kind of understand the feel and the style and what to expect. You know what I'm saying? So, So now you said some good stuff, bro. That was fire.
Can I share one thing? Can I piggyback that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in that regards, you're talking about the startup, because a lot of people are stuck on the startup. What many people need to understand is you're going to do everything. You're going to wear all hats at the start.
Yeah.
And what Lamar was talking about when I say you have to work yourself out of the position.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is.
You know, because let's just take, for example, recording artists. You know what I'm saying? Many of them want to hire a manager, publicist, this person and that person, and they have no budget. They want that look. They want to appear as if they're bigger than who they really are.
Right.
But when you really understand that you are at this point, in this level, when you are a startup recording artist, you're going to have to do everything on your own and learn the business and what you do. You have to understand the trends in your business. Even if you're becoming an entrepreneur and you can't really engage, understand the industry trends.
Right.
Study the market that which you are in. This is just at the beginning, because many people are not studious as entrepreneurs. Those who are in their startup, they just say, well, I got a business, and you're paying taxes and you're not doing anything. Right. At one point, just being transparent, I had BU Entertainment at the old BU Entertainment. And I was working good. I had everything going, but then it got to a point where everything was stagnant. I said, well, I got an entertainment business, not entertaining anybody. And that's, you know what I'm saying? I was stuck. But when you understand that you have to stay consistent in what you're doing and learn, and then and see what's going on in the trends, see what's going on in the trenches, network to get work.
Right.
You know, got to network to get work. You have to go out, shake hands, you know what I'm saying, get with other people, meet other people, even those who are considered your counters or your competition.
Right.
You have to meet, see what's going on around you. If you're in a business and you're in a startup and you don't know one other business that is in that same field as you, then you need to go learn. Yeah. You need to go do some business socials. You need to get on the internet, use that phone, that computer, like that powerful piece of technology in your hand, and study the industry that you're in or what you plan to get in. Right. We haven't been talking about just getting to the point where people, where we as people can really understand what we're going to do when it comes to the actual business itself. You know what I'm saying? That working the numbers, being able to brand it. We got to focus. Even going, let's go from day one. Okay. Those who can't afford to do a corporation or a small business, but you want to start it up. There's nothing wrong with doing a DBA or do a business. Doing business sales. That's social partnership. That's through your social security. But some people I want to go ahead and establish the business. But as soon as you incorporate that business, or you do it as a DBA, that is another entity. That is like having that person, that entity now is live, it's living. That's why when you go to the Secretary of State or certain things, it says it's dead or alive or dissolved. That's because at that point, that entity is now, once you give it life by paying and getting it licensed or doing the DBA, that right now is, now you have another person. So you have yourself and you have this business. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now you have to feed, maintain, and support this business. And if you don't feed it, if you don't maintain it, if you don't give it support, then it dies. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's been happening with many people that's in startups. They don't feed the business. When I say about feeding the business, they're not giving it what it needs in regards to networking to get work. Right. Handling your paperwork in regards to if you're doing a corporation, funding. How can I get funding? I know that's a big question everybody's looking for. There's many ways to get funding, especially now. Right now. Right. Talk about it, bro. Talk about it. If we're funding, this is a good time for those minorities, African Americans. Because right now what's happening this pandemic, what's happening in regards to life and living, what's going on with everyone's now is, okay, we want to show Blacks, we want to show African Americans that we really support their business and this, that, and the third. Now we're getting to that point, but are you prepared? Right. Are you prepared to get the resources? Because now as a business, for those who are doing DBAs, you won't be able to do this. But when you have a corporation, you set it up as a corporation. Here in North Carolina, you pay your $125 to Secretary of State, and you establish yourself you establish the entity as a business. Now you go to the next step. You get your EIN number, and after you get your EIN number, now we're talking about you getting the certification. There's certifications that you get that help you get the funding that you need. Hub certification, HUB Hub certification. Minority entrepreneurship. Those are veteran-owned business certifications. Disadvantaged business certifications. They ask you these on certain grants and so forth. If you apply for grants and say, what certifications do you have? You need to go and be able to have these in place so that you be able to be in that market and getting your 8A for government contractors. These are the things that we need to do when you're talking about serious in business. That separates those, because when you don't do certain things or have certain logistics and your back office or your paperwork, your black and white, your paperwork in place, then they consider you a hobbyist.
Ooh.
You're not a business entrepreneur. You're considered a hobby. It's by the government will consider you a hobbyist. And once you do that, it's hard. It's a challenge to get out of that mode. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you have to. Things don't go wrong; they start wrong. So if you start your business wrong, it's going to go wrong later on. It doesn't like well things start to fall apart. No, it didn't fall apart. You started in a position in a way that caused the business not to have the proper foundation.
Right.
Proper foundation. Put the business and make the choice. Am I going to do it as a DBA now because this is what I can afford, and I get to a certain point I can incorporate? Okay, fine. LLC or corporation, your choice. Right. You know what I mean? And I would recommend, you know what I'm saying, there's, like the Bible says, there's safety in the multitude of counselors. Get you some consultants, get an advisory, get some people that you trust in the industry and in business, and this is your advisory board.
Yeah.
Right.
See, many people, many of us feel that I don't want to share my idea because someone's going to steal it.
Right.
No one can actually steal your idea or steal your business, because in order for them, they may copy one portion of the vision, but to take the idea, they're going to steal your idea. They mean they have to think like you, be like you, and understand your motivational style and your design in order for them to take it. And that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? If there's something that's going to be successful, it's going to be copied. Look at the hamburger. Look how many hamburger shops we got around here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One successful burger, fast food joint. Now all of them popped up. So you got to expect to have those who's going to mimic success, because if that's the case, then they want to be able to get a piece of that success as well. But when you have that and establish the business plan, you got to establish the business plan while you're doing your business. You see what I'm saying? Your business plan, that's your roadmap. That's your reminder to, this is what I should be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 6 months from now. These are my goals. These are my financial goals for my company. It took me 5 years to write my business plan.
Yeah.
5 years. You know what I'm saying? It may not take you that, taking any other people that, but for myself, because it was, one, it was challenging to do.
Yeah. And
two, I had to get with the right people to help me with the numbers. You know what I'm saying? When it came down to the projections, the profit loss and all that, what I'm looking to gain and so forth, all these are in place. You need to have all these in place, especially when you're looking at getting loans, when you're looking at connecting with certain people who may want to invest, and also updating that. You update your business plan as you go. The business plan is not one and done. The vision. I saw a meme that says, "Stay stubborn on the vision, flexible on the direction, on the process." The process may change, but stay stubborn when it comes to the end goal.
Right.
This is what I'm looking at, the big picture for my company. But you may have to change up some things in getting to that, and change is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? You may have to go a different direction, and that's okay. But connecting with the right people, connecting with those who are willing, who are diligent. Like the Bible says, have you seen a man who is diligent? He stands before kings and not mean men. Mean men means those who are scammers, those who are con men, those who don't seek your best interest. So you take that principle, you know what I'm saying? That principle of being diligent, that's you knowing your trade, you knowing your business, you handling all in, dot every I, cross every T. So that when it comes time for someone to, when that preparation meets opportunity, you can enter, walk into that favor and not see favor from the backside going away from you. You see what I'm saying? So it's a matter of, you know, because favor is fair to everyone. I heard some people say favor is not fair. Yes, it's fair to everyone that's fair.
Come on. It's a spiritual thing, right? Yeah.
It's not partial to anyone. You just got to have the proper preparation, the proper. Right. You have those who have businesses, but Is your structure the way it needs to be? Are you prepared? If someone walked up to you right now and says, Lamoy, I like the cool spot. I want to take the cool spot and put it on national distribution.
Right.
Are you prepared? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that. Or they would have come to me, Bernard, I like what you're doing in renewable energy. I would like to see if I can have, I need a turnkey solution. And when I say turnkey, that's able to happen you be able to cover all areas in that business. That's turnkey. I want a turnkey solution for 5 or 6 fields of solar panels to be able to do. Am I prepared? Yes, I'm prepared. I'm gonna tell you, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, he's ready. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go. Anybody out there listening? Let's plug that real quick. But being able to understand whatever you're doing, even on the ground level, make sure you dot every I, cross every T. Do not try to think this is going to be an overnight get rich quick thing. And if that's the case, then you're starting wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Businesses that look like they're overnight aren't overnight.
Right.
They've just been working in the background to build to this point.
Right.
So what are you doing in your back office? You know what I'm saying? While everyone else is maybe napping and sleeping, you're working and preparing.
Yep. And that's one of the things that like I'm just looking for that big break, man. And so you hit something on the head earlier. You were talking about how there's funds available out here right now. In the time of crisis, I feel like there's a lot that's happening that's keeping people caught up in this whole sense of emotionalism. And we're missing a lot of great opportunities even through this crisis. You know, who said it? Somebody said it. They said, never throw away a good crisis. You know what I mean? Because there's still a whole lot of good that comes out of big crises, you know. So there's loans that are out here, there's some monies that are out here, there's like you have these master classes that's going dirt cheap right now, you know. $600-$900 classes are going for like $100 now, you know. $250, $400, $500 classes now going for like $70-$80, you know. So you can still, while everybody's quarantined, people are learning on one end, but you also have there's another group of people on the other end that's caught up in all the emotional things that are going on that news media coverage is presenting to the world. And all we're doing is we're just stuck on this, the killings, the Black Lives Matter protesting, and, you know, Trump, what's he doing bad? And why can't Biden win? And, you know, there's just so many different distractions that are going on today that's keeping us from actually you know, succeeding in this moment right now of the crisis. So like, even like right now, there's a few classes that I've signed up for, you know, and it's like, I have them paid for, but I'm working them slowly only because of my scheduling. So now I'm like, okay, well, what else do I need to do? I need to come up with some money, some funds. All right, well, cool. I have a storyteller's promotion registered as a LLC. You know, I'm using that, you know, to obtain different funds and different things like that can help out in this time of crisis. And of course, like, let's say going back with the $2,500 that Trump gave to everybody, right? Took that, got caught up on some things, invested the rest, you know, applied for some other grant money and some other funds and got some of that now. And I'm stacking that up now. So I'm like, you know what, with where the vision is and where the plan is right now, all I need really is honestly speaking, about 2 months. I know it may sound crazy, but this is just me in my little world, right? About 2 months capital, you know, of monies that I have on a surplus side. After all of my bills are paid, yeah, I probably leave this.
Great step.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Step out on that.
Right, because even outside of me working all those long hours, my weekends is nothing but the cool spot. I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm studying. When I get off work, it's nothing but the cool spot. I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm updating, I'm promoting, I'm marketing. It's like everything, my entire life now is encompassed in the cool spot. You know, so the works that you guys may see, this isn't just stuff that I'm just learning. This is stuff that I've been acquiring throughout time. And now deciding to just go ahead and implement all in one and just put everything together now to a package where we can start making some move and some motion. You know what I mean? So, but now, man, right now is a prime time. A lot of people have been getting unemployment. I couldn't get unemployment. I was one of those essential workers, but a lot of people have been getting unemployment, way more money than what they've been getting on their full-time job. So what have we been doing? Have we been saving? Are we taking that as leverage? Are we building capital? You know, are we trying to save so we can have some surplus on the back end so we can start making some investments and changes? Or are we just caught up in all this negativity that's going on in media and just living life day by day, spending money as if money ain't a thing? I don't know where y'all at, but I know for me, yeah, we investing. We making some things happen over here. And it's a slow grind. It's a grind, and it's coming together. And again, the cool spot is happening really, really fast, and it's growing really, really fast. So I'm super excited about the progress and where we're headed with this, man. And you know, this is good stuff, Bernard. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Now, I know you're talking about capital.
Yeah.
There's this. You have. That has to be. We're talking about working capital. See, these are the terms that a lot of us don't get.
Gotcha. Help me out.
Working capital. That's operation money, everyday operation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That is what it takes to run your business. You want to have the working capital. Now, this is what a lot of businesses now. A lot of businesses have shut down or have closed their doors because of lack of working capital, and that is what this last stimulus bill was supposed to provide for many businesses was the ability to have working capital. If you look at some of the criteria to pay the rent, to pay the payroll, and all this that's all working capital. That is not money to be able to put into your pocket and say I'm holding. Right. To take that, you know, and for some people that do have that money, they have that money. And you need to, even if you need to use another word that we don't commonly hear, it's pivot. Pivot, okay. Pivoting the business. Yeah. And pivoting the business, that is you taking it, you still have your business, but you're providing a different service, or you're doing something different than what you're doing before. You're bringing something different to the table, but you're keeping the business structure. Many businesses had to do that, had to pivot the business, had to bring something else to the table in order to be able to do, especially with the social distancing and with the shutdown. It was like, especially in the entertainment industry, it went flat. It just about flatlined for a moment. So all these people that were depending on the presence, live entertainment, and so forth. Okay, what can I provide now that this is not an option? You have to then pivot the business. You know what I mean? That pivot is boom, a different direction. However, you got to have a plan in place for that, for the pivot. You have to market and promote. And when it comes down to the marketing, you just don't just throw it on Facebook, throw it on this there. You got to have in your marketing a key target. Yeah. Who is your target audience? Who is this business geared towards? And even understand, and as an entrepreneur, you need to understand who has the buying power in certain things. You know what I'm saying? In certain industries, certain trades, and certain. If you're getting into who's buying wool light, for example. I don't want to put too much out there, but I don't want to promote the other stuff that ain't giving me no. Hold on. Let's say natural this or natural that. Who are the people in this? Who can I gear this towards? Who can I go to with this? And even in me, I'm considered construction. So obviously there's just some things that I'm not gonna be able to just throw on Facebook and be like, yo, y'all, hey, who wants this here? Because much of my work and the business that I'm building has to do with a lot of commercial. So I have to be able to market. Facebook ain't gonna work for me. Social networks not gonna work for me unless I say, okay, I'm gonna provide residential. Now I can go in a different direction. See, now it's about knowing your industry, knowing your audience, knowing your target, and not just throwing it out there and saying, hey, here it is, buy it. Right. So this comes into the diligence portion of understanding as an entrepreneur and your capital, where you're putting your dollars to. You can have the money, But if you're not skilled in knowing where the dollars, how much for marketing dollars, even you got that money, you still need to budget. Can you budget?
Right.
This much for marketing dollars, this much here for equipment. How much does it cost to make my product? If you have a tangible product, how much per unit?
Right.
How many units are we looking to sell? How many units will it take to cover the rent or the operations or for payroll? If I have people, how much do they need to do in order to keep the money? The numbers have to look like they need to do. So we come out of the red, get into the black, which is even, and go into the green, which is profit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You want to work from red to green. When you first start up, you're in the red.
In the red.
Then you begin to break even because when I say you're in the red because you have to put up money to get the business going. You have not made any money. You're in the hole. It's like working on a job. You're 2 weeks in the hole when you first start off. Then you start working, and then you get into the black.
Right.
And then you get to the point for some, they work overtime. Now you're getting into the green. This is the surplus.
Right.
That's what how you want to build your business and how you want to build in regards to what you're doing with your money. I got this capital. What can I do? Don't just go to, I want everything, all these things for my business. I always wanted one of these for the business. I always wanted, okay, for that piece of equipment, for every dollar, you got to look at it. For every dollar you spend, how much do you need to make to cover that?
Right. To replace it.
Right. Not even to replace it, to get a surplus from it. If you buy equipment and it does not have anything to do with making money, then you're wasting money. You know what I'm saying? Because many people, just like this here, how many times have you gotten a refund check from an IRS income tax refund and taken that and bought a car, went and bought some shoes, bought some of this, bought things that, or, we're going to do a party, or whatever the case may be. That refund check could be startup money.
Yeah.
Or that refund check you just received. That is part of the capital or a piece of equipment that you may need.
Yeah.
We have to take the business further. Again, your financial dollars, using them wisely. Use the financial dollars wisely, understanding marketing, understanding what it is for your brand, and having the right people pushing your brand.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to if you have a product, don't be afraid because to beta test your product. You see what I'm saying? If I say I got this is my new juice. You know what I'm saying? Having focus groups. So how do you get that money? If you just got your income tax check, your refund, and you wanted to do this, but you went and bought some clothes, or you bought some new shoes that you always wanted, you know what I'm saying? But that same money, you look at it, it would have cost probably about a fraction of that to do a focus group on the product that you have. Where your priorities in regards to your budget, your priorities in regards to what you're doing, that is key when you're talking about business, when you're talking about building the business, and you're talking about marketing your product. I'm going several ways here, but I do want you to understand when you talk about the money, the working capital, and what does that cover? What can you do with that? How can you take that and build your brand? These are the things that many of us have missed. I know at one point I didn't know this. I began to study the trends. I began to research in regards to what it is to be an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur, but what it is to be able to grow the business and read books. You need to be reading books. If you're poor in regards to understanding how to budget, get books on budgeting. If you have leadership issues, get books on how to be an effective leader in your business. You can't lead yourself. How are you going to lead other people? So they're a key. You know what I'm saying? If I say this, if I can't trust you, you can't lead me.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And that's how many people feel in regards to those they want to work for or are working for right now. Many people want to be able to connect with companies that are growing, want to connect with new innovative companies companies that have something better to bring to the table, and you never know that there could be that one person that can bring an idea to the table that can catapult the business. So don't be afraid to have people come into your life that you can trust with your vision. Now you test them in regards to understanding. The test is not really so much testing. You have them sign paperwork, confidentiality.
There you go.
No, these type of things. A lot of us give our ideas and sharing ideas, but you don't have anybody signing paperwork. You need to have them signing paperwork. Do not compete. This is a confidentiality agreement. I'm sharing this with you. If I hear that, if someone from our group listen to this, and I'm the only one that told you, then here we go. Here's litigation. And you have to be willing to stand by your word. Look, this is you and I. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about doing real business here. We have an opportunity right now where there is an uprising of entrepreneurs right now.
Yeah.
Especially what's going on in the job market.
Yeah.
With all that's happening right now, this isn't the time to feel sorry for yourself. This isn't the time to be like, woe is me, where's my 40 acres and a mule?
Right.
This is the time right now to see what is the service that you can provide. If you can think of it as a service, if you can think of it, write it down. Write down different things. Even if you are an entrepreneur right now and you're established as a business, you still need to write down different ideas for as far as bringing entrepreneurship. Still write down. But you see many entrepreneurs, they just don't wear. A poor mouth has one hole.
Okay.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? Poor mouth has one hole. So if you have more holes, you have more opportunities to get cheese.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? And for everything that you're bringing to the table, yes, you focus on this. You build this business first. This business is building. Now you can take some funds from that once you're in the green, and you can take some of that profit and then use for next business. But you have to stay focused on that business, not scattered. I'm doing this, and there's not one that's a jack of all trades, a master of none.
None, right. So let me ask you this, bro.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you're giving a lot. Now let's take a step back real quick. Right. I don't want to lose anybody, man. Let's take a step back real quick, and I think this is going to be important. That ties back into all that you're giving. So, as an entrepreneur, it takes a whole lot of time to do a lot of studying, researching, mastering different areas of business, and we can kind of break it down into tiers, or however you want to word it. But as an entrepreneur, what are your thoughts of the introverted entrepreneur, or what they call the intrapreneur?
Okay, so this
being an introvert and an entrepreneur, good or bad? Let's put it that way.
An entrepreneur is just an entrepreneur. They have all these subtitles for this. They want to categorize everything. Now, if you're the type of person that can't be around people, then you need to hire somebody who can network for you. Right. That's it.
Right.
Do what you do best. Delegate the rest. If you're better working behind the scenes and you need to hire you a face, then hire you a face. It's just that simple. See, many people focused on the problem instead of focusing on the solution. You know what I'm saying? Don't stay stuck on the problem. Well, I don't know. No. It's just that simple. It doesn't have to be hard. If they're an entrepreneur, wherever how you
I know the tongue twister. Entrepreneur.
They're an introvert.
Yeah.
But they are an entrepreneur. Like I said, you share with someone. You best thing too is to have an apprentice.
Yeah.
And that apprentice would be the person who can be your face. You understand? And you're at this time, and while you have that apprentice, you're doing two things. One, you're trusting someone to be your face, and two, you're training your replacement.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So at the point where you're ready to reposition yourself, you already have someone in place. See, this is what we need to be doing anyway.
Right.
Is training our replacement. That'd be the youth of today. You see what I'm saying? Even with my son, I talk to him all the time in regards to what do you want to do as a business? And he gave me several ideas, but you know what I'm saying, he's getting to the point now where he's saying, well, this is what I'm really looking at. And I said, okay, well, let's build on it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And like I told him, I said, well, I'm doing all this right here. Also, he said, well, do I have to be in it? I said, no, you don't have to be in it. But well, you don't have to actually do it what I do. However, you need to understand business so that you can be able to have a seat at the table and know what's going on. You need to train your replacement. You need to train the person to be able to speak. But it happens all the time.
Right.
There are some people who just don't like being in the public. They want to be behind the scenes, and they will hire a manager. They will hire a project manager for themselves. And the project manager is the one that goes into the field for them. Just that simple.
Yeah. But there's a big misconception about like the introverted ones, and there's a lot of strengths, you know. And I think just like throughout the week, I listen to different audiobooks and different things, man, and it just kind of keeps me going. It keeps me in that mindset. But there's a misconception about the introvert, as if an introvert is one that is like the nerdy type, or that's kind of spooky, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. But introverts actually play different parts. And I mean, introverts can also be extroverts, you know? But this is what I did, right? I was looking and, you know, I try to give like a little piece of, just a little paragraph or so, some sources. So there's 4 types of introverts from what study shows. The social type. Social introvert, this is more just like a synopsis, a little quick breakdown. But the social introvert is the closest to the commonly held understanding of introversion, and that it's a preference for socializing with small groups instead of large ones, or sometimes it's a preference for no groups at all. Solitude is also preferable for those who score high in social introversion, right? Then you also have the thinker. The thinking introversion is a newer concept. People with high levels of thinking introversion don't share the aversion to social events. People usually associated with introversion, or people usually associated with introversion. Instead, they're introspective, thoughtful, and self-reflective. Then you also have the anxious one, right? The anxious one. So unlike social introverts, anxious introverts may seek out solitude because they feel awkward and painfully self-conscious around other people, because they're not very confident in their own social skills, but often their anxiety doesn't fade when they're all alone. And then the last one is the restrained introvert, which another words for this one is reserved. Restrained introverts sometimes seem to operate at a slightly slower pace, preferring to think before they speak or act. They also might take a while to get going, and they can't. For instance, wake up and immediately spring into action. You know what I mean? So I think there's, and we could become like, I think I'm a mixture of all of them, right? I'm just a mixture of a lot of different things. And because I love people, but I also appreciate my time alone. You know, when I'm working on projects, it's quiet in the house. I don't have music playing in the background, none of that stuff. You know, I love social gatherings, but they're not a necessity for me either. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, there's like a big mixture, like one big gumbo, one big pot of different things going on in me, you know? But I think it's important to understand too that there's different personality types that people may have, that I feel like a good friend of mine, Kim, she always talk about compartmentalizing, putting everything in its own box, you know what I'm saying? And being able to identify different things that goes on into the mind. So just to be able to better equip ourselves for this journey of entrepreneurship, I feel, again, we got to be able to identify different parts of ourselves and put a word, like Free said earlier, put a word to what it is that we're doing, or how is it that we are. There's something that is called, what is that? And until we understand what it is, we really can't make sense of moving forward, or what it's like to move forward, until we start there at the foundation base to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Or you can do partnerships.
Partnerships. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we can become so self-involved.
Mm-hmm.
are to, but we stay in the clouds. We stay up here.
Right.
Like you focus on, are you focused on your personality or are you focused on building a business? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or are you in the business of personalities, or you gotta ask yourself questions here, because nothing happens until something happens.
Right.
So
did you ask that to separate the two, or did you ask that to just like as an identity question to ask self as like a scope?
Right. For yourself. These are questions for discovery. You know what I mean? But then being able to establish one of the best forms if you're doing partnerships are three-way partnerships. You have three that not the best, but one of the ideal forms. You have three different people. Maybe one out of the group may be like you said, an introvert. May have an omnivert. He may have one who's an extrovert. You see what I'm saying? But being able to understand, even in that's why they have publicists, to be able to speak on certain people. If you're at that financial place, to be able to hire a publicist, public relations person that can help you, that can be the face for you, or like you're saying, or hire an apprentice who can do or whatever the case may be. To be able to be the face. If you're just one person entrepreneur, and you know that this is not a strong area for you, then okay, well that's why you have 1099.
Right.
hire someone that can handle that for you. But if you're so focused on, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, then you're going to stay stuck.
Right.
You're going to stay stuck in that right there. You're putting yourself, unnecessary fears being put into or apprehension is being put into an area where it's not needed. All you need to do is get yourself prepared get your structure prepared. If you're that person, or you're not very good at speaking in crowds and so forth, then either you can take a class to get yourself prepared for that.
Yeah.
You can work with someone to get yourself prepared for that, or you can go ahead and like I said, it's about hiring someone or establishing partnerships like yourself and Free. That's a partnership.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong either way. There are many ways there's many ways to solve the problem, but you have to be willing and open to be able to get to that point.
Yeah.
I have a question. So as you were going through that, Lamoy, I know you had told me about the article that I could look at, but as you were reading the difference, considering myself a very extroverted person, right? The only thing, like, as you were reading it and I'm consuming myself on what you're saying, all I could think about is the underlying depression and anxiety. Like, because I was just like, I can see anxiety in that. I can see this, because I think that we all become on this information overload with social media. And I feel like it forces us to have this extra anxiousness, right? Because we have so much information coming at us. I do think, like Mr. BU was saying, that it's important for self-discovery, kind of knowing who you are. And I think that the rest is adaptation, right? Because the more, like you said, you don't have a problem with being in a crowd, you don't have a problem with networking, you don't have a problem with these things. I still necessarily wouldn't call you introverted, but I do feel like you've gained introverted tendencies because you've learned, hey, I have to buckle down here to be successful in my business. So A, B, C, and D that introverts do, I do now, because it pushes my vision. So I think it's just caused you to realign yourself. But it's good to realize the qualities that you have. But as soon as he said, like, is that keeping you in your head? That's what I was thinking about, that underlying depression that a lot of people deal with, where you're like, when it said it's hard to get started in the morning, I was like, that ain't nothing but depression. When you don't get out of bed, when you like, I don't feel like adulting today. And only because I think mental health is so important for you to at least acknowledge it. Like, so many people to acknowledge what you deal with, right? So, like, for instance, I deal with anxiety and depression. So as soon as you read it, I was like, oh, that's some bad days when I'd be like, I'm just not gonna do this today. I'm just, I'm gonna choose, I'm gonna make a decision. Whereas other people, they have to say, you know what, they might need that additional balancing chemically to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna take this every day because it helps me balance so I can get up and go. Versus someone else that might be holistically dealing with it, and it might be a little bit different for them. But that staying in your head, that is a a pivotal point when it
Yeah.
comes to mental health, right? Because you're in your mental state. And
Right.
so I think, like he said, it just made sense. It snapped, like that can just keep you from your vision because you're so
Mm,
busy
mm,
in and trying to find out all this knowledge about your personality versus
mm,
saying, hey, this is what I know. Here's the
mm.
basis. Bop, 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 bop. Now, if I see where it's distracting me from my vision, then
Right.
by all means, let me discover a little bit more. But if it's
Right.
not distracting me, why do I feel like I need a label on something that's not broken?
Mm.
Right. There you
Because if
go.
it's not broken, then I'm potentially can be breaking it because now I'm like, wait a minute, I
Yeah.
need to know more. And for people like us, Lamoy, where we hear something, we're like,
Yeah.
if it
We
strikes our
thinking.
interest, we're gonna
Right.
go down that rabbit hole. And then you
Yeah.
could be in that rabbit hole for a week. And granted, you've obtained some good information, but is that the business? Like
Mm.
it just made sense when he was like, but is that helping the business? I mean, all right, if that ain't you, then delegate it to somebody else. And
Right.
then I
Right.
thought about even when we were talking about like vending in different times, like one person might be quicker, like, oh, I see you look at me. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and start talking because
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and
Yeah.
reel you in versus somebody else that might be more introverted because we literally had the same dialogue, might be a little bit slower to have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation because that's
Mm-hmm.
just not them. Delegate to somebody else, have somebody there that's gonna pick that slack up.
Mm.
Right.
So that was
Fire.
good. Sorry, I just saw when you went and he
Fire.
went, and I was like, bam, all right, there we go. Tag in.
Fire. Fire. So with that being said, bro Bernard, how do you deal with fears, man? Because she hit on a lot of good points about depression, and you know we all know that's also related to certain fears that may trigger depression. So how do you deal with like the power of the unknowns, fear?
For me, in business, I'm fearless.
Okay. Were
That's
you
just
always like that though? Let's go through the stages.
yes,
Were you
yes.
always
I've
like?
always been. In regards
Okay.
to business, I've always been fearless.
Okay.
My first business, my first contract was my dad. My dad was giving me allowance, and I wasn't feeling the amount.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute, Dad. That's it. Yeah,
Taking a couple of dollars. He said, "Okay, you want some more? Here you go." And
yeah.
he had slid me his old lawnmower.
Okay.
All right. So I took the lawnmower, carried it up over the bridge, went over. We lived on base. I went over to the officer's side and went door to door and asked him. I said, "Yo, I would like to cut your grass front, back, and side for $20."
Mm.
And I did. I wrote out my little contract. I think it was in middle school.
Yeah.
Wrote out my little paper contract. The lady signed. The lady or the gentleman, they were signing. The officers or their wives were signing. They go, all right, come on. So I had contract. That was my contract as a kid. So it was like, when it comes to fear, in business, I'm fearless.
Right.
I'm saying I'm not afraid to approach the situation. No risk, no reward. I've always been at, what's the worst someone's going to say? No. Okay.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? No is no. Then the next thing, you keep going until you hear the yes.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I've learned, the rejection in business for some people who are emotionally driven, that is something they got to work on within. Why is it like that? It's rejection issues. If you're disappointed or you never, you know what I'm saying? Were you the last one to be picked? What is the problem? You know what I'm saying? You have to focus on yourself in that regards. Why does no throw me?
Mm.
If someone says no, why am I afraid of disappointment?
Right.
And you shouldn't be.
Right.
The most someone's going to tell you that approach, they're not interested. Okay,
right.
Well, okay, fine. I have this for you. And I think I've dealt with more fear in regards to dealing with certain people personally than in business.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And how I've dealt with that fear is I go with it heads on. I take it right to the face. If there's something that throws me, I address it. I'm very big at addressing. I have no problem stating a concern,
right,
and facing up to what it is that I got a problem with. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I guess I'm not sure if that's the answer that.
Yeah.
But but in entrepreneurship, you should not be afraid of hearing no.
Yeah.
You have to be tough-skinned, tender heart when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You got to understand there's going to be some ups and downs. You're going to have some good days and bad days.
Right.
You're going to have some days where you don't make a sale. You're gonna have some days where we're not productive. There's gonna be some days where you're gonna quit. You want to fire the industry that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I quit and then come back the next day. But you have to have the mentality of today is done, tomorrow's a new day to be great.
That's it.
You got to have that mentality of tomorrow's a new day to be great.
Yeah.
They went this way, and tomorrow, every day, even if you have a great day, tomorrow's a new day to be great.
Yeah.
And you keep that positive mentality. You got to stay positive when you're building your business. Or for those who are even in this moment of right now going through this pandemic, you got to be positive in regards to where you're at. Now, if you had to shut your doors, for some many, that's unfortunate. You know, that many had to shut their doors in regards to that. However, just because you closed your door does not mean you're closed off as an entrepreneur. That entrepreneur is in you. There's some people that just got the entrepreneur spirit within them. It makes no difference. They'll sell a snail a shell if they could. Right. They got that knack for selling. They got that knack for building a business. They can go bankrupt, and next thing you know, the next day they've incorporated something else and moved.
Yeah.
So you got to have that. You can't be the type of person that is dwelling on the failures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Many people are afraid of failing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to look at failure is you have to embrace failure as learning.
Yeah.
To each failure, what did I learn from this failure? What can I pull from this failure to maximize myself and to take the business in a better direction for next time? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So under having that fearlessness, that right there can be learned. You can, in business, you can become fearless as an entrepreneur. You can become fearless when it comes to sales. You can become fearless when it comes to working your numbers and making sure. Sometimes some people are aggressive when it comes to numbers. Some people are more passive when it comes to numbers. You have to know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your tendencies, know your bent, so to speak. What are you more typical at doing? So as you learn these, and I gotta get ready to close out with you, but
you good.
But those are the things you got to do in regards to fear.
Yeah.
Recognize if something comes up in fear, and then you see, where did this come from? Why am I afraid of? And many people fear success. They fear success. But I would tell you, don't. And when I say that, it gets to a point where they're at a certain point, and the fear of success comes in when things are going right and you're getting ready to see. It's like I can feel the breaking point getting ready to hit, but I don't know how I'm going to handle it. It's a fear. Some people do. I don't want to be successful because I don't want what comes with it.
Right.
And anxiety hit. He said, there goes that anxiety. And some people feel some kind of way because of fear of success.
Right.
Don't fear success. Embrace it and understand how to nurture it, how to use it as a something to be able to help your community. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And being willing to take that success and take that fear and use that fear as fuel to fuel your passion, to fuel your efforts. You see what I'm saying? You could take that fear and turn it into fuel when you change your perspective on it. All right, don't look at it as fear. Just look at it as a challenge that you need to overcome.
That's it. That's why I tell people, like, cycles happen because we keep doing the same thing over and over again. So like life cycles, why we struggle. Why did the struggle pass down from my mom, from her grandmom, to my mom, to me, down to my kids? Well, there's some learned behaviors that we have to unlearn, right? And it's the same approach when we're talking about business. Like, I treat life as business now. My conversations, how I treat people, like everything for me now, my perspective and my views are strictly about business now, you know? So like there's things that we have to go back and address, even when it comes to organizing, which brings me to my next question before I bring you to the last question, right? I ain't gonna let you skate that easy. I got to give you these questions.
I got it.
You got to go? We got to go? Okay. All right. Cool. No problem. Well, let me give you this last question then. Because I know we're on time restraint. I got you. So last question. This has been good. Thank you again, too, bro. Thank you again for the time, man. This has been good. Dang, we already are.
I'll come back and help some more.
We got to do a part two. We got to do a part two.
We got to do a part two.
Yeah, we do part two because I got questions. All right, so the last question. What would you say to the person that says systematic oppression is the issue?
What do I say to that person? It's systematic. Now, they're saying something that's valid.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much valid.
Mm-hmm.
They have a strong point in that because it is systematic oppression.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have to start off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if this person is using this as the scapegoat for not becoming an entrepreneur,
right?
I have this number one thing I said: no more excuses. Give me results. Have you tried?
Right.
If you have tried and you've given your honest effort and you have failed, keep trying and trying until you get there. Mm-hmm. But if you don't get started because you're in your head, so to speak, or you're excuses. Mm-hmm. And I charge myself, I've coined this phrase for myself and I use it with others, but I use it for myself first. Excuses are made by those who don't manage themselves wisely. Manage themselves or their time wisely. While many people focus on the excuse why they're not doing, you have just wasted enough time focusing on the excuse or focusing on this one, systematic oppression. Oh shit, yes. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Systematic oppression is there. Mm-hmm. However, so is opportunity. Are you using it? Oh yes, it is there. Oh yes, we 400 years, yes. But are you using the tools right now to be able to say, yo, I've given it my best and I've connected with those who can help me? Oh yes. If you can't say, oh yes, then what's the problem?
Right.
Why haven't you gotten started yet?
Right.
Yes, we understand there's a system in place to keep us down. But if you do not try, if you do not start the company, if you do not give yourself the opportunity by focusing on the negative or focusing on that one perspective, if you can't say, have you tried? You can't say, oh yes, then you have not begun the process of breaking that in your life. Right. We all have the opportunity to break it in our lives. We are the master of our destiny. Right. Through our choices. So, oh yes. I say, oh yes. Yes is there. I mean, oh yes. There is opportunity. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I say, oh yes, many times over that it is there. But you must have the courage enough to break it in your life. If you feel like this is a curse, all right then, be the curse breaker.
Exactly. Right.
Break that unbreakable cycle.
Right. Because what we're doing right now, we're talking about it. Yes, we're talking about it. But after this show ends, what are the people going to do?
How will we apply the action?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Information, revelation without application causes frustration.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? We can give you all the information.
Can you repeat that one more time?
This is where many people are, including that person that feels that way. You have information, revelation, but you don't have the understanding of application, which is causing frustration. Sure. When you have information, revelation without application, it causes frustration. And for many people, they're frustrated because they don't understand how to apply. So instead of not getting the application, they rather make the excuse. We're bound by systematic oppression. Oh yes. There is systematic oppression, but what is the application you need to do to come up out of, to break yourself away from that oppression? Right. You see what I'm saying? So the oh yes is there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the oh yes is there, but however, give yourself the opportunity to get application. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that person, I can guarantee you that person can break down where it came from, where it started, where it did. If you put that much effort into building a business.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? There are many people that can talk about the oppression. They can give you the history. They can give you the science to it. They give you all these things. But take that same energy and put it towards your brand, towards building a company. I see people more apt to hit the like button and walk away than to not hit the like button and do something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I saw it. I like what y'all was saying, but then you walk away still with nothing. Because you choose to do nothing. So you then go back complaining about, they said a good thing, but it's the system's fault. Okay, we can only use that for only so long when you don't try. If you have not made any attempts, at all, then you need to go ahead and allow yourself, grace yourself with the opportunity. Give yourself a chance to be successful. Give yourself a chance to be able to want to break the curse in your family.
There you go.
I got to be on that.
There you go.
You answered a question I just got on my watch party as I was about to be like, we're going to answer this on part 2. And then you answered. I was like, well, here we go. Well, that's good. Like, thank you for bringing that in. I mean, I know you said that you have to go, but I am so appreciative. Like, I have like 25 quotes on the side. Like, it's a lot for us to be able to ingest, to go back to really just apply this to our life. Because I think so many times, like you said, we stay at that point of we have the information, the revelation, but it's that application portion that that a lot of us are stuck in. And so, yeah,
that's good though. That's good. Now, I know you got to go, man. I know you got to go. But before you leave, share with everybody how could they find you, your social media sites, and all that good stuff right there.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook on at Mr. BU, and on the gram, get me on S Bernard Mitchell on the gram. Or you can go to the page, the BU Entertainment Worldwide, or you can go to Stephen Bernard at Stephen Bernard Enterprise on Facebook as well. On LinkedIn, S Bernard Mitchell on LinkedIn. You can connect with me there. We can do some boardroom talking on that, or you can hit me by email info at StephenBernardEnterprise.com.
There you go.
And you can go to the website. Check out my services. I also do provide consulting services. I have consulting packages. I have a $300 package and a $550 package for help those starting up and those who want to get moving. StephenBernardEnterprise.com.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I know you got to go, man. I'm sorry. I hate that you got to roll out. You know, we talk for hours when we catch up, man. So we don't talk as frequently, but when we do catch up, we catch up. You know, so I just want to say,
thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. And again, everybody, I'm going to close out after you log off to kind of get my final remarks. But thank you again, bro. Everybody, Stephen Bernard Mitchell. Thank you once again, brother. You guys have his information on how to get in contact with him. Follow, like, subscribe the movement, patronize whatever he has going on. It's just time to connect, man. This is just the time that we in. All right. So he gave a good wealth of information. He's a consultant. He just gave you guys a lot of free food right there. So a lot of free food right there. So again, thank you, bro. I love you, man. And we'll catch up afterwards, bro. All right. We'll catch up.
All right. Thank you for having me. Thank you, sis.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So again, everybody, that was Stephen Bernard Mitchell. I hate that he had to go, but just to piggyback off of the last thing that he said, though, are you willing to be the one to break that curse? In other words, are you willing to be the sacrifice, right? And you know, in the religious groups, in the religious sects, or whatever your belief is, there's typically a sacrifice somewhere in the storylines, you know. And whatever it is that you believe, I feel like we have to be able to tap into the different sides of life. Like, yeah, unfortunately, life has been hard. I know for me in particular, I can speak for myself, life has been very, very hard. And for someone that came from a family that wasn't fixed on education, that wasn't fixed on business as far as how to write a checkbook, a balance a checkbook, how to, deal with your finances and how to get out here and become something, right? I wasn't brought up on that, but as I began to grow and I came older into the knowledge of what truth is and how we're supposed to live by observing other, religions and cultures and different things like that, I've learned that what I've been taught has been flawed the whole time. Free, what I've been taught has been flawed the whole time. And I think, again, we have to go back to a place where we can question what it is that we believe and perceive as our truth. Whether we're talking about religion, we talk about what mom taught us or grandma talked about, we got to go back and question everything. You know what I mean? And for me, yes, I am the sacrifice of my bloodline. I am the sacrifice of the entire lineage of my family. I am the only one that is doing the things that I do, that I'm doing, that's connecting, that's trying to make something out of myself and do everything that you guys see me do, from my personality to the business side, like everything. So for me and my generation that's coming behind me, dealing with my legacy and my kids, it's like I have to have something to leave back behind for them, man. And again, that's why this is more important to me than anything else. That's why I work so hard. I'm willing to be that sacrifice. If my time is up before all of this is done, prayerfully, I've done enough to, to the point where one of my kids will pick it up and continue to run with it. You know what I'm saying? And again, man, like I talk about death. Final thoughts right here. Talk about death. Like, I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about death. And from what I understand about death, it's a fear and it's something detrimental to the human psyche to talk about. For me, only because we're not fulfilling our purpose. Purpose, as far as what I understand, is what happens when your work is complete. Other words, while I'm still living, my work is incomplete. So my purpose is fulfilled in my death, right? So check this out. So in my death, my purpose is fulfilled. So what does that look like? What does that look like? Well, that means everything that I've done throughout my timeline of life, of living, if it causes one person to question who God is, or whatever it is that I believe, or whatever it is that I did, and it brought them to a place of either questioning or a thrust forward to become more, then I fulfilled my purpose. I feel like for me, spirituality is first. So my belief is there is a creator, there is a God. So if you just happen to just question God, well, why did that have to happen to somebody that's perceived to be such a good guy? Or just why, period? Right? Then that's going to lead you down a rabbit hole, because my work is intense. My work is real. My work is authentic. Like, I really have a heart to help people. So if in my timely death, whenever God sees fit, I'm okay with talking about it because I'm working. So in my time of death, whenever God sees fit, okay, boom, somebody gonna say, well, why? What happened? Okay, well, in that, you got to be drawn into the rabbit hole to begin to see some things. And you may want to inquire, ask family members. You may want to pray about it, start looking in whatever your spiritual sources are. And through that, I feel like naturally, only because you've inquired, you were led to inquire. And you're being led to inquire, you'll also be led towards what I believed and how I seen it and what my truth was. And that's what's going to bring you to the ultimate goal. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be willing to be that sacrifice. We have to be willing to break those generational curses. We have to be real and honest with ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to be able to identify the now. What it is that I do. Where does that come from? What happened? Don't look at me and say, well, what's wrong with you? Don't ask me what's wrong. Ask me what happened. You know what I'm saying? Don't say what's wrong. What's wrong?
We got a comment.
Yeah.
So I got a watch party going on. So sorry if y'all see me keep looking down. When people comment on the watch party, it doesn't go under our cool spot. So I'm like looking down, like my sister Kels. Hey Kels. She was just like, we need to have a different mindset about death and what we can do during our life and after death to help our family and our lineage grow. Absolutely. So to piggyback on that, My experience growing up was different than Lamoy's. So
Mhm.
I am that generation after the sacrifice. My dad was that sacrifice. My
Mhm.
all this stuff, like Lamoy can tell you on a regular basis, I tell him how much he reminds me of my dad. And it's crazy because my dad used to have this free knowledge. Like
Yeah.
everybody that came to the house got this knowledge, like for free. Like, you know what? Y'all want to get married? Okay, you get married. Let me tell you how to come up. Both y'all
Yeah.
get part-time jobs. You don't need part-time jobs, but what you're
Yeah.
gonna do is, you know what I'm saying? You and your husband both make 50K. All right, you gonna stack your income. Y'all gonna live off one income. Y'all both gonna have part-time jobs, and in 2 years you got this much saved up. Look, he would just give all this information, and I just be over here like, ugh.
Yeah.
Daddy, why? I ain't married. I don't want to hear this right now.
Yeah.
But the information that allowed almost all my friends to still take parts of what my dad says and bring it back up and like, dad was so right. You know, one of my best friends, her husband, like he became another brother to me
Mhm.
because my dad put so much in him that he built. And, you know, even now he'd be like, I remember when Pops was telling me this, and this is true. And when you understand that after somebody makes that sacrifice and you're the lineage, then you got to
Mhm.
go further. But sometimes it can get you in that area of being stuck. Like, how do I apply all
Right.
this knowledge that I have? And that's why even what he was saying became so relevant because even me and my sister Kels, who I was saying was, um, writing, who was making the comment, like, again, she was one of the ones that my dad, we would sit here and give us knowledge. He would tell us about who we were dealing with, if it was good,
Mhm.
if it was bad. But it
Mhm.
wasn't from a point of saying like, you'll never grow past it, but it's just like, are you gonna get where you need if you keep certain people in your circle in your
Right.
life?
Right.
um are you going to be able to attain these goals?
Right.
And so even with having a business, like, my sister has her own business, you know what I'm saying? She has
Mhm.
a trucking company. Shout out to black owned trucking
Come
company
on now.
women.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
minority owned women businesses. It's called, watch I mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Um, shoot. I always say it wrong, and I look at the word and still say it wrong.
Don't make me go back to the email. I gotta look at the
Man,
email.
do it, because I'm gonna say it wrong. I want it's not. Stop.
It's all right. It's all right. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lamoy's gonna say it right because I'm gonna tear it up, and then
I got you.
Christara's gonna look at me like brethren. Um, but with that being stated, being able to, once you know who you are and once the cycle has been broken, how will you keep it going? And being okay with failing,
Yeah.
understanding. For me, failure was like, my dad didn't say failure wasn't an option, but he had such high standards that if I like to let my daddy down, oh my
Mhm.
goodness. I remember when I had a child out of wedlock, I was scared to tell my daddy. Like, I was pregnant. Like, I'm hot dang 23 years old, and I was boohoo scared. My brother
Mhm.
did it. I didn't do it. But it was the fear of letting him down,
Mhm.
which should have been, I knew the love he had for me. It should have been, I'm scared to tell you. My dad was
Mhm.
just like, all right, okay, you did it. It happened. Let's not do it no more. Let's
Mhm.
push past it. What's next? So now I have to break that cycle that I semi started, right?
Mhm.
So that my child pushes past me and
Mhm.
realizes I don't want to do this that my mom did, but my mom is breaking things so that my life doesn't have to be consumed in something that was not supposed to occur when it did,
Mhm.
or something that brought me to this world, but that I can push past and say, I want to do something different. Because we,
Mhm.
we idolize our parents, right? A
Yep.
lot of times we idolize them, the good and the bad. And so
Mhm.
we have to get to a point where we can make mistakes and we cannot badger ourselves about it, because you can get to the point where you're badgering yourself and then you start to feel bad for yourself
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
not applying the lesson learned.
Right. Prodigious freight. That's the name of it. Prodigious freight. That sound right?
Yep.
Did I say it right? Prodigious. Prodigious. Prodigious.
Prodigious. There we go. Kels,
Yeah.
it's okay. Next time you can just
It's
see
all
that come up
good.
here and say
It's
it
all good.
correctly.
It's something like
Um,
shout out.
prestigious freight.
Yeah.
Prestigious.
Yeah.
There we go.
Prodigious.
There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah. You
But
still like,
yeah,
I probably
yeah.
we're
But
gonna zoom past it.
no, but that was good though. This is a good build. This was a very, very good build. I really, really appreciated this. I knew this was going to be something powerful, and I was really looking forward to this one right here. Super excited about it. Again, shout out to Bernard Mitchell,
Shout out.
Mr. BU. He's doing a lot. He's working in the solar industry as well. That was one of the other businesses I don't think he gave a lot of insight on. But again, man, I'm looking at this. You know me, Free. I'm watching this 3, 4, 5 times afterwards. So, but stay tuned for continuous updates of what's next with the Cool Spot. We have a full lineup all of August, I believe. We're going to skip the first Saturday, which is the August 1st next weekend, and take a little break. Got a few things to catch up on, things to take care of. And but we'll be picking up on the 8th, I believe, and we'll be bringing in my good brother Lawrence Davis, aka Amos the poet.
Amos,
Amos, yeah, that's my big brother right there, man. And we're going to be talking about the Catholic society, good or bad. It's going to be deep too. It's going to be fire. It's going
I
to
know
be
it's
deep.
gonna be big. I got
It's gonna
questions
be,
already. I'm ready. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's gonna
I was
be,
raised, you know what I'm saying, good old Southern Baptist. Okay.
yeah.
So going from that to like now considering myself non-denominational,
Mhm.
you know, it's a whole big thing because a lot of it is policies, procedures. Oh, I pray through this
Yeah,
person. Well, do we still believe in Jesus? Do we believe? So the basis of what we believe is the same, right? So why is it that big of an issue? But you tell somebody Kojic that, you know what I'm saying? I have a
yeah.
little smoke.
There's a big
So
old,
it's
there's a
gonna be
big.
a good bill.
That's gonna be a really, really good bill. He's very deep into the whole about history and Christian history and just religious history, revelational stuff. And he's deep brother, good brother right there, good brother. You know, so yeah, we have a lot coming up in August. We have our next lineup for our next spotlight, finalizing with that, and then we're working on the finalizing the second event for the spotlight towards the latter parts of next month. You know, but again, we have a lot coming up, a lot of new promo that I'm working on now, digital flyer, not digital calendar, interactive calendars and stuff as far as what I'm working on. Doing a promo for another type of calendar work that we're going to use moving forward and just continuously update it. But again, if you guys have not been following the Cool Spot, check us out on Facebook, Instagram primarily. We're also on YouTube, LinkedIn, and who else? YouTube and LinkedIn, right? So check out the website, join the community at
Yep.
www.thecoolspot.com. Again, all of this is free stuff. The
Don't get
spotlight is
Patreon.
free, right? You gotta patronize and become a patron
Free.
and join the Patreon.
It's free plus
Right.
free.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
even
it's
if
all
it's $1 a month, you know what I'm saying?
it's just
Even
a
even
dollar.
my
Yeah.
even my baby, you know what I'm saying? She, with her own little business, you know, she was just like, bam, I'm about to plug in and support because it's the
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah.
And if we can teach babies at this early age about giving to businesses and how
Mhm.
it'll catapult their business, being
Mhm.
business minded,
Yeah.
where are these babies gonna be in 20 years? Like if we instill this in them now, there ain't no
Yeah.
stopping them.
Right. Again, you can't talk about a person's character without talking about what consistency is. So you starting early, Free. You starting early. You're building that consistency up now,
Mhm.
right? So when she becomes an adult, consistency won't be an issue. She
Not
won't
at
look
all.
at you as a pest or a problem because look, I've been learning this as a child. Like, what you talking
Right.
about? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's phenomenal, man. Good job too. Great job with that.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
And you
Yeah.
know the biggest thing I'm gonna tell you, I had a friend, one of my besties, one of my best friends, Yolanda. And what I remember is her parents had a business when we were growing up and we were in high school. And they would have board meetings and all the kids was in there. And I realized like, that's y'all in board meetings. And the parents would bring concerns and questions to them to get their input, which
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I thought was, you know, back then I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like you really want to,
Yeah.
but to come back, they were the same kids that over the summer, they were at camps that were building them. They were at STEM camps. They were
Mm.
at camps that got them scholarships in college. Like
See?
her and her sister, out of 4 kids, I want to say 2 or 3 of them got Bill Gates Millennium Scholarships. They had their
Mm.
bachelor's, master's, and I want to say part of their doctoral paid for.
Right,
So,
right.
like, you know what I'm saying? To look at that and to phenomenal family. They are you know what I'm saying? If anybody knows me, they know back in the day I used to be like, yo, I'm a Kennedy too, okay? So I'm not Kennedy. Um, and to just know that that was the mindset that their parents had, that if I bring you in and I teach you the ins and outs, you see the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We live
Mhm.
together, you see it. But to have you have an impact, input as they've grown, and my best friend's a doctor now, like it's nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's pregnant right now, and I know that baby's probably gonna come out 3 years old. So what's your input in this nonprofit? Like, what you think? Google
Yeah,
Gaga?
yeah,
Go,
yeah.
go, yes, no.
Let's go. Yeah,
But to start early, like it's just gonna make our children stronger, the
yeah.
next generation stronger, the more that we can impact. And it's never too late. We can't think of it like it's too late. I didn't teach them at 5. Okay, cool. Teach them
Right.
at 7.
Keep them in there.
Who's to say that even if you start at 10, that they're not going to take that and grow? You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible tells us that they might turn away one day, but what's
Mm-hmm.
instilled in them will be there. They'll
Mm-hmm.
come back to it because it's in them. It's in their core. It's rooted in them. And even when we do that with our kids, do it with their friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah,
not? Like, you
yeah,
here, you gonna learn too. Okay,
yeah,
next, the next business thing, we're gonna include you in there. Go ahead and get
yeah,
your little stuff together. Get
yeah,
publishing a book. All these things that we have to have those mindsets. So,
yeah,
sorry, that was my little
yeah.
rant.
No, no, you're good. You're good. And that's the thing. Like I said, we got to treat life like business, man. So everything is life is a big business structure. Like the way the United States is ran is a one big business structure. Like everything is business. The millionaires understand that concept. Like life is business. So it's an everlasting journey to learn. It's ongoing, and we just have to be consistent. You can't stop. You can't slow down. You just have to go like one speed. Like Charlie Sheen said, I only got one speed. Go. Winning. so,
That's winning.
but
Let's not quote him though.
yeah, I know, right?
As soon as you
I,
say his
I
name,
follow,
that's how it's
I
hard.
follow some weird things. I follow weird things. Don't mind me. But again, man, I
No,
just want to thank
it's
all of you guys. I hope y'all got something great out of this right here. And Free, thank you so much for believing in the vision, not just believing, but also being a part of the vision, sacrificing your time, your expertise with all the digital stuff that's going on the screen, and how you picked this thing up and you ran with it yourself. And again, thank you for
Aw,
covering the other day too on the spotlight,
got
because
you.
I was work with the whip on me at work. It was stupid, but
No, playing.
but yeah. So but thank you once again, and thank everybody again. Follow the Cool Spot community page on Facebook. Like, subscribe, follow for upcoming events. Of course, my personal page, Lamore Decina. Free, you want to share your plugs?
Yes, Free the Poet NC on Instagram, Free the Poet NC on Facebook, and also Miss Frida Free on Facebook. I'm sorry, our second little shindig that had our personal
There
got
you go. There you go.
erased. So
There
I'll
you
make sure it's back up there by the next go round, y'all. But follow us, continue to watch the movement, and you know what? We out. So if
go.
nothing else, here we go.